not be using Gana. So if you have the rest, MetaMask, Node.js installed, okay. Okay, I see 3 yeses. Emmanuel, Chuku, Ade, Yemo, Heritage, Sadiq, and Elizabeth. Every other person? Yes, for Chrome, yes, Francis. Yes, Queen, I see you. Shuma, Colette. Yeah, Francis, I see you. Salihi Ibrahim, I see you. All right. Okay. Dash Mustafa, yes, I see you. Gibson, I see you. Yeah. So basically, we all have our requirements. So basically, what we'll be doing today is we're building the DAPP, as I said earlier, with Ethers.js. We're building a DAPP with Ethers.js, and it's basically divided into 3. Well, I'm dividing the class into 3. We're doing 3 major things. We'll be creating a web page, a HTML web page that would actually be using to connect to the DAPP. And second, we'll be creating the smart contracts on Remix. The smart contract on Remix, then the last is actually doing the connection to the smart contracts. So if we have our stuff, as we said, we can go straight right into the class. So I'll be sharing my screen. Let me see. Okay, let me put off the video so that we could okay. All right. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, you don't, Francis, you don't need the extension. It's not, you could just use the web version. Like, we could use the web version. You could check. I think Success dropped the link. Success dropped the link. That's my remix. I could share the link again. For remix ID. Success dropped the link. You could check. All right. So nice. Okay. Yes. So everybody on remix. First of all, we are going to start by creating. I'm going to create a folder. I'm going to create a folder here on my desktop. Web 3. Inside this folder, I'm going to open this folder with code. Hope everybody is following along. So this is actually a code along section. So we would want everybody to follow along. We're all following along, right? Basically creates a folder, or if you have a folder you're already working with for your for the bootcamp, you could just use that folder. So basically I'm creating a folder and I'm going to open it with my VS Code. I'm going to open it with my VS Code. So in this folder, I'm going to create an index.html. index.html, and I'm going to run I'm going to do the shortcut for getting the boilerplate for HTML. And this application, this HTML, we're going to name it my first DAPP. Yep. So, is everybody following along? Okay, I should increase the font. Okay. Okay. How do I? Okay, let me check my view. Let me zoom in. Hope everyone can see it now. Yeah, is it okay? Is the font okay? Huh?
Yeah, it's quite visible.
All right. Okay, nice. So this is our first DAPP, and from here we'll be creating a little HTML. Sorry, I want to arrange so that I can be seeing the comment section. Yeah. So from here we'll be doing a little bit of HTML. I'm going to paste some code. So we'll just go straight forward to writing and explaining what we do. You can see the code I pasted in the so the decentralized application we'll be doing today is basically an application that we'll be trying to get and set food, actually a food type, any kind of food that we want to do on the chain, on the blockchain. So would basically be getting and setting which food we want to have on the blockchain. Forgive me for using food because I like food actually. But so that is basically what we'll be doing. So our first DAPP is going to be getting and setting food on the blockchain. So if you can copy the code I pasted on the comment section, so we'll move right along. And also there's something I don't know if we all have. It's called Light Server. It's used to serve HTML. I don't know if we have that. can pull up my terminal here. So this is my terminal, and so really I should give us the codes to install the terminal and install the light server. So in case we don't have this, or we have any other server, HTML server, we can, if we don't have, we could install this on your terminal. You can pull it, your terminal, if you don't see your terminal, if you can't pull your terminal from this, I just pulled mine from here. I don't know if you guys saw it. Just pulled mine from here, or you could check terminal here and you do new terminal. So you get your terminal, and if you have installed Light Server, this is a global installation using npm. If you have installed the Light Server, you could run to see what we have on our HTML Light Server, and that would open for us a HTML server here on localhost 3000. I want to know if we're at this point, if everybody's at this point. You have your light server, you have run, copied this code, you pasted. We're following along. Please, I would always want to reaffirm that we are following along. So, are we at this point? Is everybody at this point? Everybody all set up at this point? Any response? Response. Response on the chats, please. Okay, installing the light server. Okay. The terminal stuff. Francis, you can get your terminal here. Okay, still installing. Gibson. You can get your terminal here on your VS Code. Okay, good to go, Anthony. Nice. Running light server now. Nice. Okay, gotcha. Nice, Francis. Okay. All right. Anybody else? Done. Nice. From Colette. Nice. Yes. Not yet. Still installing. Queen. Okay. Emmanuel done. Nice. Jean. Nice. I've seen you. Okay. So Light Server actually helped to spin up this server for me. Yes. All right, done. So I think a number of us are good to go. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some CSS styling to our code here. We'll be adding some CSS styling to our code, and I would want to paste that style too, so that we'll just move along. I believe most of us are good with HTML, CSS. So this is the styling. we could add that to our at the head tag. If you can see where my distance is pointed now, we'll add the style in there. The style tag, and it's basically a style defining the CSS styles for the body, our div, and this button is for some buttons that we're going to be adding after we have done the contract on Remix. Yes, so it centers the div. Yes, the margin auto, zero auto center the div. Yeah. So if you can see from my own now, you will see how it's centered the div. I actually had to shrink my app. So this is how it looks basically. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So we're all here now. We have the styles and we have our HTML, a little bit of HTML. We are running our what's it called? Our light server. So next we are going to go to Remix. We're going to go to Remix and I'll be expanding that one now. So this is how my Remix looks. I think remix.ethereum.org should give you that. The IDE, the Ethereum IDE for running your Decent. So this should be what you will get when you first come to the Remix. Yeah, the link to the Remix should be here, right? Okay, let me drop this one to get the Ethereum IDE. Are we on the Remix now? So when we get to the Remix, there are a lot of things that we'll take notes. I think this is the kind of the welcome and everything that about Remix. You might later want to take a look at it, but for this class, we'll be closing this tab for now and looking at what we have here. I don't know if there was a class for showing us how we've used Remix before now, so I will just move to what we have to do today. So if we look at on this left hand side, we have the file explorer, we have the search, and we have the Solidity compiler, and we have the deployments and running transactions tab here. So on the this is where on the contracts, this is where we define and write our Solidity smart contracts. Then after we write these contracts as .sol file extensions. We use .sol file extensions to tell the IDE that it's a Solidity code file. So first thing, after we write our Solidity code on the file extensions that we are going to create here, we're going to compile. This is where we compile after writing our code. Then we are going to deploy. So this is basically the steps to writing our Solidity smart contract on Remix. Then we are going to start by our app. We said is going to be a food app to set and define a food app. We're going to set a food app and we'll be getting the food app, calling basically calling functions from our DAPP here, so that we can see the interactions on both and the remix ID and also on Etherscan. We'll see how the transactions play out. So the first thing we're going to do is to actually create a new file on the contracts file, and we're going to name it food. We're going to name it food dot so. Are we there? Food dot so. As you can see, it's flagging, and this is because we have not written any stuff there. So when we name it food.so, we are going to be getting the what's it called, the license to. I'm going to just copy this license here, and I'll also paste that for you guys to copy too. So you can paste that on your Solidity food.sol file. Yeah, paste that, and you see that your Solidity, it has stopped yelling at you, right? It has stopped yelling at us. Okay. So are we all there? Is everyone following? Nice. Yes, okay. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to define the contracts. We're going to define the contract on Remix here. And Solidity has a contract keyword to define a contract, and we're going to call this contract food diary. You could call it anything. Food diary contracts. Food diary contract. So basically, that's how you define a contract on Solidity. You write in a smart contract, and next we are going to be creating. We're going to be creating a variable, and this variable is a global variable. So we'll be doing string for the table for you. Nice. So we have the food variable. This is a global variable in. This is how to define a global variable in Solidity. It means this will be stored on the blockchain. If you define a variable in this form, you would be storing that variable. You want that variable to be stored on the blockchain. Yes. So this is how you define the type. We want the food to be a string. Whatever food we are giving the name of the food we are trying to save on the blockchain, that's all. It's going to be a string. So we save it on this variable food. Now next we are going to be writing two functions. We're going to be writing two functions for setting and getting the food on the blockchain. So I'm going to paste this function. I'm going to paste these functions. Okay, let me just copy the two of them and paste for the sets, and you would see the set food function and this the set food function and the get food function. So basically what this set food function is actually doing is it takes in an argument, and that argument is to be saved on the memory, which is the blockchain. So it takes in an argument of the food argument. We know how functions are, right? We understand how functions are. This function is a function that is taking an argument, and its access is a public. Make this function is accessible within these contracts, and outside this contract is a public function. So it sets food, takes in an argument of food, and what it does is it sets the global food variable to the argument that it is calling. It is getting. It sets it to the food. So it sets what we have on the blockchain to the food argument that is being passed to it. So the other one is a get function. The get function is actually reading from the blockchain. It's reading from the blockchain. So it's a public accessed function, but it has this view. And it returns a string, which is the food. It returns the food. The view here is telling it that it's not it's a return. It has a return. It's just getting what's on the blockchain. It's getting what's on the blockchain to actually show us what we have on the food that is stored in the blockchain. Yeah. So basically, this our contract, very simple, very short, very direct. One of the functions here is to set the food. The other function is to get the food from the blockchain. So next thing we are going to be doing is to actually compile this code. So while we are on this file, food soul, we click on our compile tab on the left here, far left here. Our Solidity compiler. When we click on that, we would see this here where it says we should compile food, and it has the file extension here. And this is because we currently opened the food soul file. If we open another file, it's that file that is going to be telling you to compile here. So we are going to click on the compile, and I would want to affirm that everybody is still following. Yeah, are we still there? Is everyone still following? Yes. Yeah. I see you. Colette. I see Queen. I see Ngole Lawson. I see Elizabeth. Okay. Yes. So we are going to compile. Emmanuel, yeah, I see you. Okay, we're going to compile the the food.so. I have clicked on the compile and it has compiled. It has what's compiled. So if you click on here, you see the contracts. Now we are going to, after we've compiled the code, the next thing we are going to do is to deploy and run our transactions. So, but first of all, before we deploy, I would want us to go a bit back to something. I think that should be one of the things we should do first. I don't know if everyone has their Forcenet Ethereum. So I'm going to copy this link and share with us so that we can get Forcenet Ethereum. Yeah, so click on this link. When you click on this link, it will bring you to this website. I'm already connected to the website, so I just need to request for Ethereum. So we are requesting for Ethereum so that we'll be able to carry out our transactions. But this Ethereum is actually the Ethereum is actually a testnet Ethereum. So firstly, we'll come to our MetaMask, and on this top bar, we are going to select our testnet. So if we're having issues, I don't know, because I've done this before, so I might not have the same interface as someone who have not gotten a testnet before. So if we're here, so I will get the testnet before we continue, everybody. Are we at the Forcenet chain link? Let me open this. Yes, okay, Francis, yes. So please kindly request for Forcenet test link from Chainlink, and it's Guali. We're going to be using Guali Ethereum for the testnet, and you have to connect your account, your MetaMask account. If you connect your MetaMask account, where's my MetaMask? Not coming. Okay, so has everybody gotten their Faucets Ethereum, Goli It? I'm using Goli It actually. I'm trying to get my MetaMask to open. Yes, okay. Aha. So I'm not using Ethereum mainnet, I'm using a testnet network. So I need to know that you guys are following, you guys have gotten your Ethereum. Is everybody there? Have we gotten our test? Yes, Emmanuel has gotten his own. Yeah, Colette has gotten his own. Okay. Yes, Shange. Ndakunda. Okay. Who else has gotten their postnets? You will see this mine. Golly, it's. You select it and make sure that's where your MetaMask is on. Who else is having their Golly Eats? Who else? Who else? Who else got their Golly Eats? Got their Golly Eats. Yeah, Queen, I see you. Queen has a Golly Eats. Any Victor? Yeah, nice. So, okay. Having issues connecting my MetaMask to the faucet. What is the issue, Lawson? What issues are you having? What is it telling you? What issues are you having, Lawson?
Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, so I'm clicking on Connect Wallet, and a pop-up pops up, and I see three wallets there. That's MetaMask, Wallet Connect, and Coinbase Wallet. And I click on MetaMask, nothing happens.
Okay, nothing happens. Do you have MetaMask installed on your?
Yes, on Chrome browser, I've installed that.
On Chrome, yeah. You have it somewhere here like this.
Yeah.
Okay. When you click on your MetaMask, you can see your account details.
Yes, I can. I'm on the Golly ETH test network.
Okay. So, but connecting now is having issues.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see if I can get under faucets. From child. All right. Can you use this one to get? Okay, Shuma wants to send it to anyone who needs, or you could also use this one, Stacknet. Lawson, you try this one, right? Yeah. Okay. Emmanuel Chuku. Sharp. Emmanuel, you have posted your account. Okay. So aside from Rawson, I think we are good to go. We've gotten our Golly Eats. So from my account here, if I request for Golly Eats, they would ask me to select stuff and prove that I'm not listening. So this should be grapes. I don't know. This should be. Oh, is it? No, this is strawberry. Sorry. This should be. No. This should be. Okay, grapes. So grapes. grapes, verify. So I'm verified, and I click on send this thing. So this was my I don't know, my MetaMask is kind of taking time. So this is my Golly 8 now, currently. And when I get, I think I just received some moments ago before the class, I did receive some Golly 8 here. Yeah, I did receive one Golly 8. So this right now, yeah, so it's completed. Congratulations, 10 testnet link was sent to your account. Yeah, so if you check the MetaMask, I should be able to see that I have more Golly 8 now. Okay, I think okay, I think this is one I just received. Okay, so now back to our remix. So we have our contracts. We have a contract. What we're going to do now, we have compiled the code, we have compiled the Solidity code here. Now we are going to deploy. So we click on the deploy. If you look at this thing, it's deploying here. So it has deployed the contract. It has deployed our contract here. To copy the contract address, this should be the contract address. I'm gonna paste it down somewhere here. This is our contract address. Now, what we're going to use this address for is actually to connect with our web page on the HTML. This is our web page that we are serving here on localhost. We're going to use it to connect. And we need not just the contracts. I've copied the contracts, and we also need the yes. Okay. Okay. So sorry for the listen. I want to be sure of something. Yeah. Yeah, so I've copied the contracts, the deployed contract. And we're going to the testing. Let me just test some of the on the contract here. Let me test the food. So this is to right now we don't have anything on the food. So I'm going to be testing the food contracts on oh okay. Francis is saying, oh, You want to send somebody 3 eats? Wow. Test it, actually. Okay. So for this thing, we are going to have a set food. I'm going to just be calling the food here. Calling the set food function here. I'm going to set the first food. I'm going to set rice. You see, it sets the food to rice. Now, this we could actually view on Etherscan. If you check this transaction now, we could view it on Etherscan. Let me see. I want to see where we could click and go to Etherscan string. So, okay, this is the inputs. Our string food is rice. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So we are setting food to rice. Let me see how we could go view it on Etherscan. Let me expand. Yeah. Okay. I want to view this thing on Etherscan. Let me see. But basically, we could actually still go to Etherscan. Copy this. Copy this. Yeah. We'll search by address. Usually I wanted us to just click on something then. Yep. So let me check. This should not be the address. This should be the contract address. So if I take my own address, yeah, the address I used for the and see for transactions, yes. So okay. So these are the transactions that have happened here now, but I am not seeing the transactions we just ran now. So I'm going to call on transacts to do a low level transaction. I'm going to do price hexamer. Okay, sorry. Okay, I should see that now here. Set food. Okay. Basically, I'm coming. Let me set up something. Are we all there? Yeah? We're all following along, right? Okay. So we have deployed the contracts now. We have deployed contract here. Our deployed contracts. We have copied the contract. So I need to check on something. And see. Okay. So we have deployed our contracts. We have our contract here now. We are going to let's just move forward to our connecting it to our DAPP now. Since we have our first nets, the transactions are working. The transactions, if you see, they are setting the food to the inputs that we did here on this deployed contract. So if I change the input to beans and call the function again, it would actually also change the food to beans. So the contract is actually working. It's working. So yeah. So I have two deployments now, but any of them I could actually copy any of them to use for our listening. So the contract address that we copied here is actually very important because we need it to be able to connect to our ID, to our DAPP. So on the DAPP, we'll be doing the same because our time is fast spent. Let me give us the code for, then I'll explain. Yeah. Okay. So let me copy this contract. we're going to write some scripts for our let me see. We're going to write some scripts for our web page. So the script is just basically like getting Etherscan to kind of connect to. First of all, it will have to like request for our account on MetaMask. Then when it requests for our account on MetaMask, yes, okay, yeah. I think that was the issue. So please, everybody, this is what we're supposed to do. We have to inject the provider so that it will be coming from MetaMask, and this is why it was not deploying. I wasn't seeing that. Thank you for reminding me, Colette Schumer. I hope I pronounced that very well. So yes, so I forgot to change the environment, and we have to do a deploy again because the environment has changed now. We have to do a deploy. We are deploying yes, this was supposed to be the reaction. So when we want to deploy the contracts, after you've changed the environment to be what's it called? The injected provider, MetaMask. We're not using Ganache, we're using injected provider MetaMask. When we change that, we'll be able to get in our contracts, our address here, and be able to deploy. And when we click on deploy, it will prompt us from MetaMask here to actually deploy the contract. And we can confirm. When we confirm that, we will now have a transaction. Yes. So we have a transaction now. We have a transaction where we can copy the contract. Yes. We have a transaction where we can copy the contract. We'll copy the contract address. This is the contract address because in Solidity, even smart contracts also have addresses, like just like you as a user, or you as someone that's trying to connect to the blockchain. You have a wallet address. You use your wallet address to connect to the blockchain. So those smart contracts also have their own what's it called, wallet address. So they are basically, smart contracts are basically built on top, just like entities that are built on top of the blockchain that serve as a buffer with certain smart codes that actually do something after certain conditions have been met. So it itself, the smart contract also has a wallet address and kind of an address also that you can interact with the smart contracts with. So this contract that we created now, this is where we copy the address. We copy the address, then we can take this address and we go back to this thing. We are going to do our food. We're going to do a let's our food address. food address is going to be a string with the contract address. This is the first this thing. We're going to also do another const. I'm coming. Let me. Something is happening. My system is a bit slow. Let me stop sharing. I see something. Okay. I'm coming. Sorry, guys. Let me start again. My laptop is kind of a bit slow right now. My laptop is a bit slow. Let me get onto something. So I'll be giving us the script for connecting to ethers.js, because it's ethers.js that is going to give us the provider class, the provider function to actually connect with our MetaMask on our DAPP. I'll be pasting that while I'm still trying to get my system to be a bit fast, because it's very slow, to be honest. Let me see. So this, you paste this script on your web page, on the HTML, on the head tag, just below the style tag. Just below the style tag, you paste that web page script, and after that, we're going to be okay. Let me see something. Okay. Trying to get sorry everybody. I'm just trying to get the system running faster again. I'm trying to clear some stuff. Okay. All right. Let me share back my screen. I think you should. Is everyone currently seeing my screen? Can we all see my screen? Are we here? Yes. Okay. Nice. So we've gotten the contract address. We're going to head to our what's it called? Our HTML. So this should be our contract address, the food contract address. I think we're not changing that again, so it should be a const. Next, we are going to also copy is our food ABI, contract ABI. Our food contract ABI. I believe we all know what ABI is. So, where are we going to get our ABI? We're not going to be writing that entirely out. From this thing, we are going to be seeing from the where we compiled, we will see the ABI here. We can copy the ABI from this place. When we copy that, then we'll go paste it on our. We'll paste that on our. Yes, we'll paste that on our web page. So if you are seeing my code, you will see the contract ABI. So it's I can remember in the last class, Ada tried to explain to us what contract ABI is. The ABI is basically like a blueprint of what the contract does, of the inputs, the outputs, what it's all about. So as you can see, for the contract, we have two functions on the contract, and those two functions are what is being defined here. We have the set food. By the name here, you see the set food, which is the function that was defined here, and that set food takes in an input with the type of string. The name of the input is the food argument. This is the argument, the inputs for the set food function on this our contract that we copied. If you copy that and pasted that, I believe you will be having the same thing I'm having here. So nice. So after that, we'll see this the set food. It doesn't output anything. It sets the food on the blockchain, the variable that we have on the blockchain. It sets it, but it does not return anything. That's why we have an empty array here of outputs. So had it been we have more than one input, you'll be seeing more than one items on the inputs array. So if you have an output, you'll be seeing something on the outputs array. Now the name is set food. Now state mutability, it states whether this function it requires payment. So basically, this function is not a payable function. It does not require like a transfer of Ethereum to from one account to another. What it actually does is it just pays for gas fee to set the state. That's the food variable on the blockchain. It sets it pays for the gas fee. So aside that, is not a payable this. So that's why this is a state mutability function and is a type function. So the second one is the inputs, is the get food function. It has no inputs. It's just a getter. It gets what is on the food on the food this thing on the food variable on the blockchain. It gets it and displays it for us. It's a view function. So that's why it's state mutability. It's view. It's not mutating the state. So this one mutates the state, but it's a non-payable mutation. It sets the state. That's why it demands gas fee, but there's no transfer of it from an account to another. So then that is for the functions. Next, what we're going to be doing next is we're going to be yes, I gave us a function for us to I think okay, it was on the group chat. On the group chat, we have the script to add to our scripts, right? So I'll be adding that to the script here. I'll be adding that to the script on just below the style tag here. So what the script does is it helps us to get the provider objects, the provider object from the ethers.js. This is the plugin ethers.js. It helps us to get the provider object from ethers.js. So we could write our scripts with that. So next thing we are going to define is a let's variable for our food contract, our food address, our food contract. I'm using the snake case. I'm going to define that. Then also we are going to be defining. We are going to be defining some other variables to. Oh, shit. Okay, sorry, I closed the stuff again. I'm coming. Our food contract. Let me get. So, how are they? Sharing again. Okay. Yes. So we've written our ABI and our contract address for Ethereum. Now we'll be defining our this should be our provider, our signee, then we'll be defining a const. We'll call it const provider is equal to a new. So basically, this is the code that I want to write here. Let me get that code from previous listing. This is the code. This is actually to connect to our Web3 provider from Ethers provider. This is to connect. Let me paste it also for us on the group. Okay, the JS code on the script tag. Okay. Lawson. Okay. Let me get the code for you. So currently, what you should have on your code now, if I let me copy everything. This is what you should have on your code at this moment. Okay. I think it can't copy everything. So, okay, oh, sad. It cannot copy everything, Francis. So, like, I feel maybe I should just give you bit by bit. Where are you stopped on so that I'll know where I can actually give you from? On the script tag, I can give you everything on this script tag. I've pasted everything on the JavaScript for the script currently. That's what I'll be pasting for you right now. It's not copying everything. It's not too slow. Sorry guys, sorry for the delay. I'm trying to get Francis to, because this thing is not really copying everything. So, but let me see. How else can we share this thing? How else can we share it? Should I paste it on the general group chat on Discord? Yeah. Should I paste the source code currently? Okay. Let me copy it again. Control E, Control C. So on the general group chat, it's here now. Okay. Upload as a file. I wasn't able to upload it as this is really bad. Message is too long. So I think it went as a file. You can see it now. Okay. Yes. Yeah, I tried to. Okay. WhatsApp. Unless you have my number on WhatsApp, I don't know. I'm not on the WhatsApp group. I'm not on the WhatsApp group now. So let's do and probably round up. We've spent enough time on this. So yeah. Okay. So we have the food, the signer. So next thing we're going to be doing is the provider. I don't know if are we okay. Yeah. So I would push immediately after this thing. I'll push the project to a provider, to the GitHub, to my GitHub, then probably give access to it. I'll make it a public repo. Yes. I'll make it a public repo, then I'll push the code there. Nice. So the next thing we are going to do is to, if you look at the code, there's a code I pasted earlier on this chat. Okay, it's not on this chat, I think. Okay, it was on. I have the code here. So I'm going to be pasting this on the chat now. Basically, this is actually requesting access to we are requesting access to our MetaMask account from our web page. This is what would actually request the access. As you see here, Ethereum request account. It's going to request the account. So the provider is going to give us the list of accounts. It's going to call the list of accounts. When we do this provider.send Ethereum request for accounts, then after that we get the accounts. These accounts that we have here, these accounts that we have. Oh, I thought I've confirmed this thing. Yeah, so I think this was, I forgot to complete the signing for the account. So this is going to get our accounts and the accounts that we have on what's it called? So me, I'm on my first account here. So the provider is going to request for the accounts on MetaMask, and when it requests for the accounts, when it returns the accounts, we are going to be selecting the first account by default, which is the 0. Like JavaScript is 0 indexed. When it comes, the first index is 0, so we're going to get the first index, and from that we are going to be defining our signer. From this, we are going to be defining our signer. This is our signer. When we do provider, when we do okay, I did the B provider. When we do provider dot send, and I'm going to get this here, provider dot send. The first this thing is what we are requesting from. We need it to send us this thing, and the next this thing there is an empty array. Then we are going to do a dot then. We're going to do a dot then, and we are going to be returning this callback function. This callback function where we'll say the provider dot list accounts. Plus list accounts, we'll call that function, and also call on dot then again on top of that, where we pass in the accounts. We're going to pass in the accounts, and we're going to be from the accounts. We're going to be passing the. We defined the let here, but we did not assign it any value here. So the signer, we are going to be passing it to the provider dot get signer dot get signer. Provider dot get signer. Then accounts, we're passing the account that we want, the first account, which is our first account, which is the one having the goalie eats. Then the next thing we're also going to be defining within this callback function is we're going to be defining our food contracts, and we're going to be assigning it to a new object from the ethers dot contract. And we are going to call that with the first our food contract address, and it's taking 3 the contracts that we are signing on this ETAS JS is going to take three arguments. The first is the food contract address. The second is the contract ABI, the one I explained that this ABI, yes, this ABI, the blueprint for the contract, it's going to take that, and it's also going to take the signer. So we will now have our food contract address and our food contract ABI and our signer. So this would actually, if you save, this will actually call it will actually call the MetaMask function on that page. Now, if I refresh, I should, yes. So it's telling me my browser is connected here. I don't know. Are you seeing it? My browser is connected. So if you're not connected, it will prompt you to connect to your MetaMask. If you're not connected, but if you're connected, it will tell you that your browser is connected. So like if I refresh again, you would see it that your browser sync is connected. So after we have done this, next thing we are going to be doing is we are going to be defining two functions for the get and the set methods so that we can be able to use our inputs and set a different value for the food on the blockchain, for the food variable on the blockchain, the food variable on the blockchain. So we can define, and we'll also be having two buttons where we can actually get the food variable and set the food variable. So I also will be pasting that code so that we'll run along quick. These two functions here. So you could actually get those food and set the food. So I'm going to also paste them on the code here. So are we following along? How many of us are following along? How many of us are at this point? I know I'll be sharing the link to the GitHub for those of us that needs the Git. Okay, nice. I can see Ndakunda Shangi. Okay. Any other person at this point? You are currently at this level with us. Wow. You're lost. Francis, you're lost. Okay, you are the one that needs the code, the repo. Okay. No problem. I would share that to you. But were you able to get the file that was shared on the Discord? On the Discord. Okay. And let's continue. Is connected. ETAS.js is making the calls. Next thing we are going to do is we are going to be adding two buttons just below here. We're adding two buttons. So the two buttons, one is going to be for the get food, and one is going to be set food. Set food. both of them are going to be having an on-click function. We're going to be having an on-click function for both of them, and this on-click function would be calling this functions here, these asynchronous functions. So basically, what we are doing is in this place, in this function, I forgot to explain this. We are calling an asynchronous function because basically we're reaching out to the blockchain to make some transactions, to do some transactions. So this get food function, what it's saying here is we are calling on the food contract to, and the food contract is what we defined here. Yeah, the food contract is this new ethers contract ethers.contract, where we passed in the contract address, the food contract ABI, and the signer, which is this our account here. So the food contract, it calls this food contract, and because this where we defined it here, it is having this ABI, it will be able to trace. Okay, yeah, it has a get food function on the remix where we wrote our get food functions there. So it will call this function to get the food. This is what we are passing on because we're logging the food that was gotten. So we are waiting it here to complete this get food promise. You can call it get food asynchronous. Promise here is just a name to say that it's coming from the blockchain. It's asynchronous. It's not coming immediately. It's a promise. So same thing for the set food. The set food, it's getting the food with the ID. We are getting the food value. What we have on the value here, whatever we have, we'll type on the inputs. We'll get that, and we set it to this food constant here, and call the contract set food and passing it with the food variable that we are getting from our DOM, our JavaScript DOM, which is this ID. We did document.getElement.id, passing in the food. So it will look through our DOM and see which of the DOM elements has the ID of food, and it will pick that up, set the value. The value is the input value that is coming from what we are typing in, and it will set it to this constant. And that constant is what we're going to be passing here. And when we pass it here, we call the contract, and it awaits that. So that is that. So, and remember, the set food is not returning anything, so that's why I'm not going to log in any stuff here. I'm not going to log in any stuff. So basically, this is what we will be doing. Then the next thing is we are going to, for the get food, I'm going to be calling the get food here. Get food. Yeah, and for the set food, I'm going to be calling the set food. Okay. Yeah. So this is it. Actually, this is our first DAPP interacting with the blockchain. If you notice, yes, my browser is connected, and we have our buttons here, and we can also click and get them. So if I click on the get food, if I click on the get food, let me open my terminal again, because it will be console logging. Oh, okay, I have the terminal already. I have the terminal running already. So yeah, let me see. Sorry. Okay. So let's set the food first and see. So we have currently on the, what we have on the destiny is the last thing that we set the food to was, okay, we signed the contract. So there's nothing on the food actually. So let's set it to rice, and we should be getting a prompt from eaters.js. Let me see. Browser is connected, rice. My system is a bit not responsive. So it's trying to tell me to confirm the transaction. So I'm trying to set the food currently now on the blockchain to setting it to rice. So yes, setting it to rice. Now if we check our image, you can see the deployed contracts. Are we together? You have to reboot yours. Okay. I want to be sure that the transaction has gone through. You can check the transaction. Oh God. So this is the transaction. Let me see view on. So this is the transaction. It's successful. The transaction that we created from our DAPP, we have successfully created the DAPP, and it's showing us the transaction. This is from this account, and this is the contract address that signed that account. So if we click on see more, we'll be able to see we'll be able to see how the nonce, the position in block, assisting, we'll be able to see the bonds, ethers, the transaction savings, the gas price, the gas limit, and everything, the transaction fee. So if we also click on, so this is the rice that I set it to. This is when I view input as UTF, or if you say original, it will view it as a block. It's hashed the block. But if you view it as this, you would see what we set the food to, right? And if we were to set the food also to, now we can actually get the food. Now we can get the food. Let me see the console. So it's console logged rice. If we get the food, it console logs rice. Yeah. So yeah, it console logs rice for us on the console here. So when we set it to beans, so if you notice, when you're getting, you're not being required to sign any transaction, and this is because of our contract ABI, where we specify that the get food here, it's an state mutability view. It's just a view function. So it gets the food, and a view function from the if you're reading from the blockchain, you won't be carrying out any transaction. So there won't be any transaction fee on that. But if you're setting something on the blockchain, it will require you to sign the MetaMask confirmation that you want to let go of some ETH for transaction fees, for the gas fees. So I want to set the rice. We already have rice now. I want to set it to beans. If I set it now, it will also call me back to make the confirmation. So basically, we've started interacting with our DAPP from our HTML boilerplate, HTML code, from our HTML code. So I sign this transaction. When I sign this transaction, I can check also from the transaction here on MetaMask. Oh God. Can check on the transaction. It's pending. It's taking a while to sign the transaction. So these are other transactions that have been done. So that transaction is on queue. And when the transaction is done, we can be able to get the food, and we will see that the food. So the transaction is done now. So if we check the listing on the block explorer, we check it here. It's still loading. Yeah, so success. The status is success now. We can check our data here and see what is the position in the block is 46, and our nonce is 10. We can view it as UTF, and you will see beans. So we are able to reset what's on our blockchain, on our food variable there. We're able to reset it to beans. And if we come back to our DAPP here, if we do get food, you will see that it's getting from the what's it called? From the DAPP. It's getting it from the Solidity blockchain, and it's getting what we for the next classes, would be diving deep in writing more Solidity code. Maybe the next class will be, I'm not sure if I'll be the one taking the next class. So, but probably if I'm not the one, maybe upper week, then any class we'll be doing building our own tokens on the Ethereum blockchain. It's kind of our own cryptocurrency. So we'll just do a little currency that we can be able to send to each other, and mainly on the testnet actually. So it won't be real Ethereum. It won't be real Ethereum. It not be on the mainnet, on the testnet. So with that, is everybody still here? Hi. Yeah. Yes, nice, nice. I can see you guys. I can see you all. Queen, Francis, Colette. Yes, every second. Nice, 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 nice. I hope we at least take something away from this practical class today. We're able to do something. At least we've written our first DAP, and that's a big congratulations to all of us. Uh, this is yes, the source code. Definitely, I'll be dropping it immediately. I'm done, or should I? Let me initialize it and. Uh, Let me do that right now so that um, it's basically a one HTML page. First tab, and let me create the repository on GitHub here. GitHub. So public. Um, so I'll be doing it. Hello. Is it from me or somebody having a call? Okay. So we have the origin now. Get approach. Okay. So I have the link now. Let me just share it here. So we can have the Git repo. Nice. So Git repo now. We can go through the code. For Francis, like that said, he needs the code. And Emmanuel, yeah. Okay. All right. So that's basically it. We have successfully done our first DAP. So subsequently, we would look at how to do other um, other projects. You're welcome. Thanks, Ginoa. Cool. Lawson, thanks. Collect, thanks. You're welcome. So I don't know. Is there any questions? Any confusions on how because at some point my laptop was very kind of slow, and I don't know if that was the reason why we missed on some stuff. So you're welcome. You're welcome. Yes, the video will also be available. I am sure Zainab would ensure that. Yeah. So any questions, any place we need clarifications, I will do justice to that before I hand over to Success. Success, are you there?
Yes, I am. Stand by.
Yeah. So any questions? I'm not seeing anybody raising hands, and I'm not seeing questions in the chat. So I believe we all understood, and probably with the source code with us now, we can actually like get everything, the picture of everything when we have the source code with us. So I would be handing over to Success now. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for having me as your instructor today. Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Samuel. Exciting time. Thank you, everyone, for staying through and for attending today's session. I don't like to waste any of our time. It's been a 2-hour practical class, and I love the fact that every one of us followed through. Please, the videos will be made available soon. Once we've done editing and placing relevant things, it will be available for our consumption. Please feel free to screenshot your first DAPPs, post on your socials, tag Akara Africa, and has a way of boosting your confidence and knowing that, wow, you're actually learning. So feel free, if you have any other question, come on the general chat on the Discord server, and let's continue from there. Thank you, everyone. Hopefully, Mr. Samuel will be with us again on Friday for another wonderful practical session. Thank you all for joining, and wish you all a beautiful night rest. Bye-bye, everyone. Take care.